Hey, so I'm out here working on these precision built products, so deck bolsters. Pretty nice little product. I've used these a bunch on some different decks last few years, and just wanted to kind of share real quick just kind of how I'm doing the install of these things and building them, because it can actually be an absolute pain in the rear end. But pretty easily, I mean, you basically just take and you measure your distance between your space, and you come up with that, and hopefully that it's pretty square. If not, you can fudge it a little bit, because of the way that I actually do these ends. If you see it, I'm actually doing them upside down so that it actually conceals if there is a gap between here and here. You can't see it. So if there's just a fraction of an inch, eighth of an inch, somewhere in that vicinity, you can't see. As you can see, it's right there as well. I just reverse them and put them this direction so that it conceals any gap that you might have. All right, so the next thing is finding the center of your board, and then I do that, and then I take this piece of wood, which is cut exactly 4.5 inches, and then I just simply mark on each side of both sides, and then I just move it down the board, and then I put the brackets on. So here I've actually taken and I've marked, you can see my marks here. It's every 4.5 inches. So when you put your extra bolsters on the center like that, they'll be exactly where they need to be. You can't have more than 4 inches of clearance between the two, where a 4-inch sphere fits through the two. So that gives you exactly what you need. It gives you a little bit of room just in case there's any movement in the wood. Works out pretty good. So here real quick to show you. We actually end up with 3 3/4 inch. So perfect. So if there's any movement, any change or anything there, you're good to go. All right, so here, got my lines, everything's centered up, and I'll do my next step and I'll show you that. One little thing is I put the screw, I barely screw it in there like that, and it makes it super easy just to be able to hold it in place, and then just center it up on your line as you put it right there, and just get a good idea of exactly where it's going to be in the middle of the board. So I'll do those real quick. So I've moved it over here to the side so I can rest it up against the other rail, and I'm just going to go ahead and install these just free floating. Okay, so I've got all these installed. They're just, like I said, they're just free floating, and I'll try to film this as I'm doing this. It's going to be interesting, to say the least. So you can see here I've got some long clamps that are going to assist in this, and I'll have to put it together kind of here, and hopefully it can give you a good idea how I'm doing this. All right, so it's clamp, and basically I'm going to take and I'm going to rest it on top of this. So I had to cheat a little bit here. So basically what I do is I get it to where the first one is just loosely clamped, and so it's in place lightly where it's supposed to be, and I'm going to walk this all the way down, and each time I'm going to put a post on there, a bolster on each one of the ends just lightly so that it's pretty close, and I'll show you what I do from there. Okay, so I got about 3 in there, and I've got it clamped down, and it's as tight as it's going to go. So I'm going to actually push the clamp over just a little bit. I'll loosen it up and move it over to about the second one. All right, so I moved it over about the third one. Sometimes they're a little bit different just for whatever reason, but typically you can leave it on the very end down there. But as you can see, I am about just about halfway through, and I've added a second clamp on the other end, and I just simply work my way down as I'm clamping and centering up the post, and then just tightening each time I go. So I've got everybody lined up. As you can see, they're still loose, but at least they're on the little clamps. And then basically I just clamp this thing down until everything tightens up. Try to keep it as square as you possibly can. And that one's tight. This guy is pretty close to tight. And we're pretty close, man. That seems to be one of the easiest ways to do this. And if it's not exactly where you want it, you can just take and remove these clamps and put them on the middle and tighten it up just even a little bit more. This thing's not coming apart, especially when you put it in place and you get it nice and tight. Especially these short runs. These short runs seem to be The ticket, if you go long, like 8 feet, you're gonna have to put some kind of support in the middle. But these runs are only about 42 inches. So these are actually perfect. I've had some that have loosened up over time as the boards have dried. But you can just simply go back and loosen up the 4 bolts that are on the bottom of each corner, and use these same clamps and just jack it up and just raise it and tighten everything up as the wood dries, and then just reattach it, and then you've adjusted it and it's good to go. So I hope that's helpful. It's definitely helped me as I've put these things together and fought with them. But again, if you got questions, let me know. I guess I should also share how I put these in. I just, again, using these clamps as my third hand, basically just get them placed and then kind of hold them in place, since there is a big gap on the bottom where those are. And again, these guys, I mean, this thing is still holding strong. There's a tiny bit of variation in there. I give myself about a 1/16 of an inch so that they don't come apart when I'm wiggling them around and getting them in space. So yeah, there we go. Okay, one last thing I gotta explain. Why is there a 2x4 on the bottom? This actually gets screened after everything dries and we get everything painted and stained. There's gonna be a screening system on this deck porch here. So yes, that is why there's a 2x4 on the bottom up underneath the rail. So again, hopefully it helps. The install of these things, that can be a royal pain. Those 2 brackets, or those 2 clamps, are a lifesaver as far as putting these together, and really that being your other set of hands as you're trying to hold these together and get everything lined up. So clamps, long clamps for the win. Take care. Until next time.